So we have sort of an exhibition set up in honor of the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. It all started about a month ago. Al Dowding, who's an engineer here in the school district, donated some original newspapers from those dates to our library. So we have those displayed. A librarian from North Carolina created the towers and freely shared those with librarians across the country, so they have all the names of the people who perished that day, along with ages and location. I also have the 9/11 exhibition posters and some artifacts, as well as some video and audio interviews. So it's sort of like a museum experience for the students to commemorate that anniversary.
I think it's very sad to know that a lot of people died just being normal people in the world.
They never knew it was going to happen, and nobody really thought it was going to ever happen because it's just kind of a big deal because so many people lost their lives.
I think it's really, it's such a huge historical event, and we still see the effects of it to this day. And I think ultimately, the message I want to send is that was a very uncertain time. There was a lot of fear, and it feels like now is kind of an uncertain time as well. But ultimately, we have to look at the families that were left behind and how you cope. The people who helped that day and who were extremely courageous and sacrificed their lives to try and help people escape. I think that's really the message that I think kids need to see, is that there's always somebody there who's willing to help.
I can't really wrap my head around it because I wasn't even there. I've heard a lot about it over the years. I learned just last year that there was a daycare center at one of the 9/11 towers, and so that really made me, that really got me.
And a lot of them don't have as much of they don't have the background knowledge, but they would say, my mom lived through this, my dad lived through this, they were my age when this happened. And I feel like just giving them that background information and also humanizing it, putting, names to the people who were there and realizing, these were normal people who were just going to work, who were just on a flight, and their lives were upended and their families' lives were upended. I think that's really important. If you find one story that has that effect on a person, then that's ultimately, the goal.
My mom was going to work. My dad was going to work. And my mom was pregnant with my sister.
My mom was working at her old job when it happened, and they had brought in an old TV, and they were listening to it, and they just thought it was fake till they heard the people on the radio talking to their families.
And it's very emotional for all of us, but I personally think it's more emotional for the people that actually lived through it and actually saw it, whether they were there or they saw it on the broadcast.
I think it comes down to stories. As a librarian, the power of a story, the power of a book. These are real stories. These are real people. And I'm really pleased that our students got to see that today.